everyone, welcome to Pickleball and Beyond. My name's Ryan.
My name is Vino.
And today we are looking at the Honolulu Pickleball Company C2. So we had a subscriber say that they can't keep up with all the Honolulu paddles that are coming out. We can't either, but here we are with the C2, another paddle from this amazing company. And we're recording this before it is released. So we're gonna give our thoughts on this without hearing any details on the surface, what they're aiming for with this paddle. This is just our thoughts.
Yeah, and I think I found it interesting, hey, this is our opportunity just to talk about the playability and how it kind of compares, right? So by the time this video is released, we'll have the specs, so we'll put the specs out there. But as far as the size go, it's very similar to their J2 series.
The closest is to the J2,
yes,
very
right,
similar, just a little wider.
Just slightly, like by some millimeters is wider when I measured all of it. Everything else the same. Is a 16mm paddle. What was interesting was, and we'll put some clips of it, when we looked at the surface under the microscope, right? You have the regular J2 with the carbon fiber, raw carbon fiber, right? And then you had the, the J2K with like the Kevlar surface. It was really nice to compare the surface of the K and the K Pro, right? This was interestingly different.
Let's put that on the screen.
Yes, let's put that on the screen because I think that was really interesting. The material that this kind of reminded me of is that clothy feel that we got from like that Diadem Warrior V2 and a couple like that, and we'll kind of put like a paddle name so you can kind of compare. So that's the only big difference we felt from
the surface part.
The surface and specs kind of.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go straight into how did it play?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Yeah.
And how would you compare it with a few other paddles? So let's go straight into it.
Yeah, I think the best to compare this guy to is we'll start with the original J2. I still think this C2 plays as an all-around paddle. I don't think, just like the J2, and let's start with where I actually thought the C2 was better in the terms of power control. I think this actually offered certainly more power than the J2, specifically in the pop category. When I was hitting some speed ups, the C2 is getting more. I'm not sure. I think it's due to that surface on it. It just seemed like it was coming off a little hotter than the J2.
We call this an all-around paddle. We touched a little bit on how the power kind of compares. Why don't we talk about like the control, from kitchen line back?
Yeah, so that's where I was surprised, right? This guy comes in a little wider, so I was hoping for a bigger sweet spot than the J2 and softer, but I actually felt the opposite on it, which was funny enough. It seemed like the sweet spot wasn't quite as big as the J2, and it was just kind of stiffer. Not that it was bad. This is, again, comparing it to a very high standard with the original J2 to be specific. This thing is very soft for an all-around paddle.
So let me quickly stop you there and ask, okay, if you compare this as far as the control goes against either the J2K or the J2K Pro, where would that match up?
Yeah, I would actually still pick the J2K or K Pro. Those, again, offer just a more consistent sweet spot, and even those were still a hair softer to me than this guy's.
So let's go backing up, like resets on the baseline control. How did that feel?
Yeah, so it did pretty well. Again, the sweet spot was the only thing I was hoping would be a little improved since it was wider. I felt some inconsistencies there, but it was pretty soft at the kitchen line. But when they were, again, smashing the ball at you and you're trying to hit your resets, it didn't absorb it quite as well as those J2s, but it could still manage.
Mind you, like all the J2 have very high tear spin.
Yes.
Right? Where would you put that? Do they match right there?
It's very close. Again, I'm excited for people to put numbers out there. It seems like it's almost right there. If anything, maybe a smidge less, but again, it gets really good spin.
And I think what's happening is like when we compared with like the J2K, right? It has good spin, it has really good dwell, so you kind of get a lot.
Yeah, where this was missing just a bit of that dwell.
Exactly, and like since it's a little bit more pushier paddle, you're not going to have that effect. So in conclusion, we enjoyed testing this C2. Phenomenal paddle as always. Any final thoughts?
Again, I think it's a great paddle, but I can't wait to see more reviews come out. I still think at the end of the day, I think the J2 is just a little better paddle, but that's just my opinion. We'll see what other people have to say about it. It's still a great paddle, and I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy it.
And I think that's also because this has set such a high bar for a standard. Get what I mean? As always, we love working with Honolulu. We are having a paddle giveaway, a C2. So what do they need to do to get one of these paddles in their hand?
So if you want to win yourself a C2, all you'll have to do is subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment. We'll pick one of you to win a C2.
Please subscribe, please comment. Hope to see you in another paddle review. Everyone, just wanted to do a quick update of the C2. We recorded it before it was officially released, so I thought it would be good just to give you a little bit of update. We did mention that there was a little bit of a weave difference, but I did want to make a little bit of a clarification because even the J2 came up with a second iteration, and when we looked at the second iteration, it looked very similar to the weave. So official specs, some of the measurements for the C2, the swing weight that we got was 115 and the twist weight of about 6.8. Again, very similar to the J2, which came at about 112 and 6.3. And I think what I have to mention is the price. Honolulu always comes with great paddles, and to come up with the paddle at $95, you're going to get a further discount if you use our code. With a shape that we have loved, the J2 has been phenomenal. So if you are looking for a little bit of an iteration of the J2, here you go. I don't think you need to look any further.